What is going on? We are back for another episode of the Real and Raw Show. Where have I been, you may be asking? John, I tune into your podcast and I hope to hear an episode every week, and I don't hear one every week. Sometimes you go 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks of episodes, and sometimes there's a gap of 1 or 2 weeks. First, let me tell you where I've been really quick, and then let me tell you a little something. First thing is that the last month has been a crazy last month. So I spoke in Chicago. Came back, got really, really sick. I talked about that in one of the last episodes. Then I spoke in Seattle. Then we drove the family to Orlando, where I spoke at EXP shareholders. Shout out to everybody that came and hung out. Man, what an event. EXP put one on. We rented out the entire Universal Studios at night. Food, booze, rides, everything was all included. It was super cool. So I spoke out there at a breakout, and then I spoke on the main stage at the very end after the keynotes. And then I flew my dad down and my mom down. They were hanging out with my sister who lives there with her kids and actually her grandkids as well. So my parents' great-grandchildren in our family. Anyway, we got to hang out. It was awesome. And then I drove my dad back here to Destin, Florida, where we spent the week hanging out and had a lot of breakthroughs. And the next few episodes, I think, are going to kind of talk about that. I wanted to get him on here to do a podcast, but it was just a lot going on the last week, so we didn't get him on. But going back to what I said before, look, I made a promise to myself when I rebooted and I relaunched this podcast. And that was that I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to do an episode every single week. You guys know, if you've been following me for a while, man, I went 150 episodes straight, and some doing 2 a week. And I had people on that, you know, are top in any industry you could think of, and, you know, world changers and movers and shakers. It was great. It was fun, but I burn out. And so I just promised myself that, look, if my true listeners truly love me and truly like the content, they'll tune in, whether it's 2 times a month, 3 times a month, or 4 times a month. So thank you all for tuning in and staying in. And, you know, I know if I miss a week or two, just know that I haven't fallen off. I just gave myself that grace. But I want to talk about something I think a lot of us are going through, and this kind of stems from my dad. A lot of us know that, you know, when I've talked about my father's situation, my mother's situation, and he's trying to make some changes, right? But it's very hard for him right now. The reason why is just because he kind of dug himself into a hole. And the hole that he dug himself into, it's been kind of hard to get out of, just because of the environment that he's in, consistently not making the best decisions. And, you know, unfortunately, the hole has gotten bigger. And so I'm not going to talk about his situation today, but I want to talk about where I see a lot of agents, because being at EXP shareholders last week, the week prior, and it was 4,000 people there. And people are doing great with their business. But then I also look at like these different groups on Facebook, and I see a lot of people like, man, I'm in a hole. Man, I don't know what to do. So if you are somebody right now that is feeling a little stuck, this one's for you. If you're somebody right now that's feeling a little lost, this episode's for you. If you are somebody right now who's feeling a little doubtful, this one's for you. Brick by brick, step by step, choice by choice, day by day. That's how we get it done. I know right now you may feel like you're in a storm that you are not able to get out of. I get it. I've been there. Not too far ago, I was there, right? Not too long ago, I was there. I've been there. And guess what? I'll probably be there again. And guess what? So will you, even when you get out of it. And realize that quitting is the ultimate failure. They use something in the military, which, by the way, Memorial Day was yesterday as I'm recording this, and just want to say honor those who have risked their lives and unfortunately no longer with us, to give us the opportunity to build businesses, to build companies, to be with our loved ones, to have the freedom that we have. So shout out to you, right? But let's jam on this, because I know you may be somebody who feels like you're stuck and there's no way out. You're lost. You don't know what to do. And in the military, they use this little phrase called lean forward. Lean forward. A lot of you guys right now are stuck, and you're not even trying to get out of the mud. You're stuck, and you're speaking that you want out of the mud, You're speaking you want out of this quicksand, but you're not truly doing anything because you're overwhelmed, because you're scared, because you're lost, you're confused, you're frustrated, you're angry. And I know that does not, sit well with you when you feel that way, but also it doesn't sit well with you. It should be sitting there too long. You need to learn how to lean forward. You need to learn how to just make it happen. And I'm not talking make it happen by setting 100 appointments tomorrow or hitting your $300,000 goal. No. Make it happen by doing one little thing right now that you could do to get over this hump. Do one little thing right now to go ahead and make contact with somebody to create a new relationship that could possibly turn into a new deal or just a referral. Do something right now to lean forward, something that you can control. Make the phone call, stop being scared. What's scarier is you not doing anything and you staying here until the end of the summer, and then we have winter coming. Do something right now to go ahead and knock on some doors. You don't have business? Go knock on doors. You don't have business? Find a way to create relationships and partners. John, it's hard. No. You're making it harder than it really is. I'm not saying it's easy, but I watched something last night, and everybody needs to write this down. I was watching this show called American Ninja Warrior. I'm sure a lot of you guys heard about it. And there was this girl on there. I can't remember her first name. Last name is Bone. And it's a women's championship. She's 16 years old, and she has type 1 diabetes. This girl was flying through the course. So much so that she beat legends and she won first place. And she says she has this motto that she lives by. And this is what I want you to write down. I don't need it to be easy. I just need it to be possible. I don't need it to be easy. I just need it to be possible. And where you sit right now, it is possible for you to get out. It is possible for you to cultivate the deal. It is possible for you to create new relationships. It is possible. It may not be easy, but it's possible. But it is not possible if you continue to sit where you're at and complain, or sit where you're at and not willing to get uncomfortable, because where you're at right now is probably a lot more uncomfortable than it is to go knock on some doors that you don't know who's going to answer. Where you sit right now is probably a little bit more uncomfortable than for you to pick up the phone and make the dials to the leads that you probably have in front of you. I get it. It's uncomfortable where you're at right now, but what is more uncomfortable is if you stay here and at the end of the year, you realize you've wasted time, energy, and potential by sitting in the quicksand and just talking that you wanted out, but not actually going to try to get out. Don't be that person who sits in his mud, sits in the quicksand, sits in a stuck, and maybe talks about it, but doesn't actually do anything to get out. Hire the coach. I don't have money. Find a way. Find a way. Hey, John, I just don't know what to do. You know what to do. You're scared to do it probably. Hey, John, I don't know what to say on the phone. Then you're not practicing enough. Hey, I don't know what scripts. Yeah, you know what scripts because I can give them to you. Just go ahead and DM me right now at real John Marrone, the word scripts, and we'll send them to you. John, I just don't know how to go ahead and convert. Go ahead and DM me right now the word scripts, and I'll give you a 2-part mini course on how to do it. 11,000 agents, 33% conversion rate. You are just not being resourceful enough. Sorry to tell you. You're stuck because you are not being resourceful enough. You're stuck in the mud and in the quicksand because you're doing too much yapping, too much talking, too much complaining, and too many pointing the fingers at this person and that, and in the market and this and that and the leads, versus actually leaning forward and doing something you can control. Being stuck is a choice at this point for a lot of you guys. Sitting in the suffering is a choice. A lot of you guys don't want to hear it right now. You might even get pissed at this podcast, might even turn it off. But if you are willing to accept the fact that the mud you're in, that the storm you're in, that this feeling of stuck that you're in, it may not have been your fault while you got there, but as we always say, it's your responsibility to change it, to get out of it, to do something with it. It's not the end of the world, but you are creating more friction and more resistance to your success the longer you sit here. What do I do, John? What do I do? Go knock on some doors. I'm scared. Good. You should be scared. Not because of that, because if you sit here any longer, you're going to have to go ahead and go back to the 9 to 5 that you said you never wanted to go back to. John, I don't know what to do. Pick up the phone. You probably have leads in front of you. You're scared to call, and start practicing so you get really good and take advantage of the opportunity. Be somebody who doesn't stay in the mud but understands how to get out of it by being resourceful as shit. Let me tell you guys a quick story. So when I moved to Florida the first time, it was after this was Hurricane hit afterwards. It was I lived in a motel. I was with my wife, now wife, it was then girlfriend, and we moved. I was living in my sister's house and in this little bedroom, and there's a whole story behind that. But I remember sitting there, and we were broke. We had no money. And a lot of you right now are sitting there broke, maybe no money or not as much money as you want, and you're not being resourceful. So here's what I did. I knew I could landscape. I knew I was good at doing some kind of construction because I know I've been around it for long enough. I know I could do that. So I picked up the phone book and I dialed, starting with A, as many numbers as I need to dial. And all I said was, hey, I'm new to the area. I'd love an opportunity to show my worth to you. Do you have any opportunities for work that I can go ahead and give you a day and show you my work ethic and possibly get a full-time job? I got told no. And I finally got told yes. Now that I did go ahead and have heat exhaustion on that one and passed out the first day and threw up for the next 2 days. And I realized I didn't want to do that anymore. So I went ahead and got a sales job and then took over the sales company. And that's how this whole sales thing started, was me almost dying of heat exhaustion. But it all started with me dialing from the phone book. Yeah, the phone book with A on landscaping, and just kept going as many landscapers as I can to go ahead and get an opportunity. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to make those phone calls? Are you willing to put the effort out? You're willing to put the effort by asking, hey, how do I get out of it? You're willing to listen to this podcast. You're willing to write on Facebook groups saying, hey, this is where I'm at. How do I get out? The storm can be over as soon as you decide to be resourceful, soon as you decide to lean forward. Sitting in a stuck is now a choice. This is bullshit, John. No, the market, the inventory. I get it. It is not tough markets that last. It is tough agents that last. It is not tough markets that last. It is tough agents that last. So what are you doing in this market to create resilience, to create this toughness, that when the market is more acceptable to the agent standards that it was 2 years ago, that you're willing to do what you're doing right now to take advantage of in 2 years? It is not tough markets that last. It is tough agents that last. And the only way for you to go ahead and create this toughness is to get comfortable with the unknown, to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, for you to do the hard things now so they become easy later. I'm going to say it again. Tough markets don't last. Tough agents last. What are you doing right now to build the toughness? What are you training on right now to build this resilience? What are you doing right now to fall in love with living in the unknown and getting comfortable being uncomfortable? What are you doing right now to lean forward into this so you can get out of being stuck? So when the market makes a little bit of shift here or there in the next 8, 12, 24, who the hell knows amount of months, that you are massively prepared because you've done the work and you're doing the work daily. Don't tell me that the market's tough and no one's closing deals. It's happening every single day of the week. Okay? So I'm not going to stay on here much longer because I want you to go do something. I want you to first write down, what are you not doing that you know you could be doing to create business? I'll give you a second. Write it down. What are you not doing that you know you could be doing for business? What are you not doing that you could be doing for business? And I want you to go do it right now. And I want you to go ahead and be okay with the outcome and only attach yourself to the action of doing it. And then do it again. And then do it again. And do it again. Do the hard things now so they become easy later. Remember that it is not going to be easy, but I promise you this shit is possible. And as she said on American Ninja Warrior, that's all you need. All you need is possible. A type 1 diabetic 16-year-old goes ahead and beats everybody in American Ninja Warrior, not by a little, but by a lot because of the mindset she had. She has some really strong hands too. She's like a national rock climber as well, so that helps. But guess what she did? She trained to create that toughness, right? She went ahead and she built herself into that person that deserved to win. Are you building yourself into the person that deserves to win? That's the real question. That's the real question. You all deserve to win. But if you're sitting there in the shit right now, in this storm, in this stuck, in this mud, in this quicksand, and all you're doing is saying how bad it is out there, or all you're doing is saying how bad you want out, but you're not leaning forward to do the things you know that you could probably do to inch your way, not going to get there. So I started this conversation by saying, there was a conversation I had with my dad that made me think about this. I told him the same thing. It's brick by brick. It's piece by piece. It's choice by choice. It's the compound effect of those things that will pay off. You may not feel it tomorrow. Shit, you're definitely not going to feel it tomorrow, more likely. But you're going to feel the greatness of that compound effect weeks, months later, even a year later. But it's most people that can't last the weeks, the months, or definitely not the year. They quit halfway through, because they're not understanding that this progress creates momentum, and combined with that consistency will create the success they want. And it happens, feels like overnight, but it's really over 6 months, 7 months, 10 months, 12 months. So go get it. Lean forward. I want you to message me on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever it might be. Tell me, what is that one thing that you know you could be doing to generate business, knocking on doors, making phone calls, reaching out to your SOI, calling past clients, talking to lenders. What is that thing right now? I'm sure there's multiple. What is that thing right now that you know you could be doing and you are putting in your calendar to go do it? Or you know what? You're not even going to put in your calendar, because as soon as this podcast ends in the next 2 to 5 minutes, you are going to go ahead and do it. You're not even going to wait. You're just going to do it. And then you're going to do it again and again and again. And you're going to build this shit brick by brick by brick. You're going to build this shit brick by brick by brick. And then when you look back a couple months from now, you look at that first brick and you can remember how hard it was to lay that one. You need to build your business and your success brick by brick. And if you do this, and you create this compound effect of brick by brick, choice by choice, 6 months from now, you will look back at that house you built. And I want you to look down at those first few bricks and realize, man, I remember how hard those bricks were to lay. I remember how bad I wanted to just give it up and walk away. But then you scan up and you see the rest of that house you built. Realize none of it would have been possible without those first few bricks. What bricks are you going to lay today? Let me know. I want to know. Serious. Hit me up. Tag me. Share this out on social media and tag me in it, or just message me privately. I don't care. But I want to know, what is it going to be? Brick by brick. That's up to you. You're in it, and you can get out of it. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into today's episode. Appreciate you. If you need me, you know where to find me. Last but not least, don't wait for the door of opportunity to open. Go kick that damn door down and grab the opportunity that is yours. Brick by brick, baby. Go build it.